In this video, we are going to talk about moisture overload. Moisture overload for curly hair, moisture overload for 4C hair, moisture overload for relaxed hair, or just moisture overload for any texture, straight, wavy, or curly. In this video, I'm going to break down to you what moisture overload is, the things that have led the majority of people to moisture overload, how to know if whether or not you have moisture overload. Because guess what? Come here. The actual scientific name is hydro fatigue, and in this video I'm going to teach you all about it and how to fix it. So let's get into it.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall. Remember, you're royalty.
Not sexy, sugarfoot, sugar bear. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every single time I post another video. What is moisture overload? Moisture overload for 4C hair, moisture overload for curly hair. These are some of the most highly searched topics on social media and on the internet in general. And why is that? The majority of the practices that most women have been doing for the last 10 plus years have led them into moisture overload. So what is it? Moisture overload, aka hydro fatigue, is when the follicle of the hair shaft is forced to swell and unswell over and over and over again. How does that happen? How do you make your follicles swell and unswell? When water or excessive moisture penetrate the cortex of the hair shaft is then able to communicate with the hair's follicle and open and close repeatedly. Now, the problem that most people have is because they believe a whole bunch of myths online. Myth number one, that the hair shaft is dead. When you say that the hair shaft is dead, this is what they mean. Your hair is made of a protein called keratin and a couple other little sprinkle dinkles of a couple other things. But when the hair shaft pokes through the scalp, the nerves on the hair shaft die off, or else it would be like excruciating pain for you to get a haircut. Those dead cells line up and protect the inner layer of the hair shaft, which is the most important part, and this is the cortex. Not everyone has a medulla, but everyone has a cortex. The cortex of your hair shaft is where the melanin lives, and the cortex of your hair shaft is also where that disulfide bond that I'm always talking about, which is the thing that determines how curly your hair is. Knowing your porosity is super important because your porosity is the way that your hair shaft protects, is the way that the outer layer, aka your cuticle, is equipped to protect the cortex, because the main objective in hair care is to protect the cortex and to allow bacteria, moisture, and everything or whatever to go in and out of the cortex as needed. But if you are a person that is constantly packing product on top of the hair, what you end up doing is causing microscopic tears and holes within the hair shaft, right? And if we know all about different scalp disorders, right, like seborrheic dermatitis, alopecia, dandruff, and all of that, but how much do you know about hair shaft disorders? The majority of natural women and the majority of women who do their own hair and make their own products in the house, I'm just saying, have undiagnosed hair shaft disorders that they know nothing about. Now, if you were to go to a trichologist or a dermatologist and they were to put your hair under an electron microscope, they would be able to tell you that you had some type of hair shaft disorder. But your hair shaft is microscopic, all right? Remember that the average person has anywhere from 100,000 to 400,000 strands of hair on their head. You cannot see those microscopic tears with the naked eye. Also, the disulfide bond is broken. Chemicals being used improperly or too much heat, or you could break the disulfide bond on purpose by getting a relaxer, any type of texture release, texturizer, anything like that. And you're supposed to temporarily break the hydrogen bond with water. But the thing about the hydrogen bond, once you break the hydrogen bond, it needs to be set, because if the hydrogen bond is not set, the bonds in the hair, the disulfide bond, the salt bond, and the hydrogen bond need to be linked for the cuticle to be closed and for everything to be okay. So if you're constantly wetting the hair, you're constantly sending a signal up to the hair's follicle to swell and shrink all day. And then most people who do wash and goes, you're not just washing your hair and spraying it that one time in the day. No, you're doing it all throughout the day. You go in the bathroom at work, and if your hair isn't wet enough, or if the curls aren't defined enough, you straight up going in there and wetting your hair down again. Even though they tell you that the hair shaft is dead, your hair shaft is not dead. Think about it. When your hair comes through the follicle, everything is still all in one piece. You don't have two separate hair strands. You have the hair that's coming out. I'm gonna put a picture right here. You have the hair at the root, you have the root and the hair bulb, and then it continues to go up outside of the follicle, but it's still one hair strand. So if the cuticle opens above the skin, it's going to open below the skin too, which is causing it to swell and shrink and swell and shrink and swell and shrink and swell and shrink over and over and over again. And when you do this, what ends up happening is, because the cuticle is never closed properly and is always opening and closing, one thing we love to do is be like, oh, let's air dry. Listen, I know it sounds easier, I know it sounds more fun, I know a lot of people are gonna argue about it. This is not the place for arguing. Kind of get out if you want to argue. Like, every time you wet your hair throughout the day, you break the hydrogen bond. The average person has 100,000 follicles on their scalp, and each follicle has anywhere between 1 to 4 strands, right? So that's where your density and things like that come into play. All of these follicles are independent. So you wet one follicle and that piece dries over there, doesn't mean that this follicle over here is going to dry. No, they're all independent, and the average person has 1 to 4 strands per follicle. That means the average person has anywhere between 100,000 and 400,000 strands of hair in their head. All of your hair is not drying at one time when you air dry. Sis, just blow dry your hair, dog. Use a diffuser, a blow dryer, sit under a hoodie dryer, anything, Lord, anything. What is the cause? The cause is one of these many things that you guys love to go by, because all of the different styles that you guys do with the team natural hacks that makes everything easier actually adds more time, and it allows the cuticle to be lifted longer. The longer the cuticle is lifted, the longer the protective barrier that is supposed to be protecting the cortex is open, right? For example, when we're talking about pre-poo, most of the practices that the Team Natural community taught you guys were making microscopic holes and tears within the hair shaft, right? And here are some of the different hair shaft disorders, so you don't think I'm just pulling it out my butt. And as a result, you guys had all of these microscopic tears within the hair shaft. So they're like, hey, pre-poo with coconut oil. Listen, I don't care what anybody walking this earth says. Pre-pooing is one of the stupidest things that I have ever seen in my entire life. That's like, okay, I just ran through the dirt and I'm about to go wash my car. So before I wash this dirt off my car, let me pour a thick, heavy oil. Let me pour petroleum jelly all over my car. And then I'm gonna rinse the bacteria off. It's like, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And then I want you to remember this. Coconut oil is 100% saturated fat, right? 100% saturated fat. So we're doing co-washing. You putting 100% saturated fat in your hair before you co-wash or before you shampoo, not understanding that the yeast, because we all have good yeast and bad yeast, the yeast that lives on the follicle's favorite food is fat. So you literally feed the yeast And then you have wash your hair. Different symptoms that you are seeing from hydro fatigue are all being caused by the procedures and the way that you do your hair. When you are doing co-washing, when you are doing the lock method, when you constantly keep the hydrogen bond broken on the hair shaft, you allow the hair shaft to get a multitude of hair shaft disorders, cuts and splits and tears because the bond isn't sealed properly. I'm sorry, but the whole Team Natural thing taught y'all the lazy way to do stuff. Team Natural taught y'all, oh, there's a hack and a shortcut for everything. No, there is not. I love y'all. I'm sorry, but there's no shortcut. And the reason that there's no shortcut is because the way that you're supposed to do it is so freaking easy. When you have hydro fatigue, your hair's cortex has been hacked. Okay, and what does that mean? The cuticle's job is to protect the cortex, to make sure that there's not too much moisture, not too much bacteria, not too much product, not too much oil, all of that stuff going on in the cortex. The cortex of the hair shaft does not need any of the oils that y'all are putting in. It don't need coconut oil, it don't need avocados, it don't need rice nipple juice, it don't need cloves, it don't need fenugreek, it doesn't need any of that. All the cortex of your hair shaft needs is to be protected by the cuticle. But by you constantly wetting your hair and causing that swelling and shrinking of the hair follicle, you stress the cuticle. And when you stress the cuticle goes haywire and different holes and cracks and tears and holes pop up. And when those holes and rips and tears pop up on the hair's cuticle, there's nothing protecting the cortex. The cortex is where your melanin lives, right? So most people who have hydro fatigue, or some people will notice, or you'll even notice, I'm not taking shots at nobody or whatever, but influencers, go to their videos when they first started. Their hair was so full, their curls, you couldn't even see through them. And now 5-6 years later, most of their curls are like a lot limper, looser, see-through. Why is that? That is because by constantly having wet hair, by constantly layering products on, you make microscopic holes within the hair shaft. And when that happens, now that place in your hair shaft where the melanin lives, because the cortex of the hair shaft is where your melanin lives. So your melanin leaving does two things. Either your hair comes up gray, right? That's like the way that it happens in the body naturally. But when you have melanin escaping like that, what happens is your hair becomes more transparent. So it's not that you have less hair, your hair is just becoming more transparent, like you can see through it now because you have holes and stuff within the cortex and the melanin is escaping. In the cortex is where the disulfide bond, the hydrogen bond, and the salt bond live. So if you are noticing that your curls are getting limper and weaker and stuff like that, you probably have hydro fatigue. The cortex of the hair shaft is also where the disulfide bond lives. The size of the follicle, little picture right here for a little demonstration so you get it. And then the second thing is going to be the amount of sulfur to sulfur linkages that you have within the cortex of the hair shaft, right? So if I'm trying to give myself a relaxer or a client a relaxer, what I'm doing is opening the cuticle, right? Because the cuticle is what's protecting the cortex. I'm going to open the cuticle with the relaxer, and then I'm going to slowly but surely pull out some of those disulfide bonds to relax the curl. That is how it works, all right? So if you have holes within the cortex where that disulfide bond lives and where all of that melanin lives, then what's going to happen? Your curls are going to get looser because the disulfide bond is what's making your hair curly, and you're going to start losing melanin. So your hair is going to appear limper, thinner, the color may be a little less vibrant and a little dingy. That's all that is happening. You have microscopic holes and tears within the hair shaft. When I make videos telling you guys not to do the lock method, not to do the bagging method, not to do all of these different things, it's not because I'm not trying to attack you or I'm trying to attack other people. It's because I know the science of hair and I know that all of these things are fads. I've been in this hair industry for 17 years. I keep saying 15. I've been in this hair industry for 17 years, and I see so many different things come and go. And once I see something come, I see everybody jump on it, everybody's hair falls out. What to do if you have hydro fatigue? Now, whenever you have hydro fatigue, what is happening is, again, you have already begun to lose certain bonds within the hair. The melanin is getting a little weaker within the hair shaft. So there are things that you need to do. You need to completely change your entire routine. Completely do a detox to get everything that is blocking your cuticle, anything that could be blocking the follicle, get it completely off the scalp. One of my favorites. Now, before I was using Kimra, like I was so in love with Kimra's clarifier. It smelled like what you call it? Oh, grapefruit. It smelled like grapefruit. Delicious. So I really love that too. I don't want y'all to think I'm just one of those people like, oh, only get Olaplex, but listen, an ambassador for Olaplex, you guys. Like, I'm sure y'all see Olaplex in the comments sometimes. Hey Olaplex, hey, I love y'all. Just my opinion, my suggestion. You don't gotta take my suggestion. But Olaplex 4C. Olaplex 4C is a clarifier and a detoxifying treatment, and it's not just on a small scale, right? Olaplex is a molecule. It is not a protein. Check this video out. I explain it in good detail. It's a molecule, not protein. I break it down right here. Okay. You use Olaplex 4C. Not only is this going to do a surface level cleansing of the hair shaft, but it will also safely go within the hair's follicle and deep within the hair's cuticle with a molecule, not a big thick protein that's just gonna sit on top of the hair. No, this molecule is gonna go deep into the hair's follicle, deep into the hair's cuticle to remove any and everything that should not be there. Oh girl, I'm getting excited. If you have hydro fatigue, right, moisture overload, then what is happening is, like I said, you have holes and tears within the hair shaft, right? And by having these holes and tears in the hair shaft with your curls looking limp and stuff, it's not something that's irreversible. What's happening is a couple of bonds just like slipping, like, oh girl, oh shoot, and falling off, right? That's all that's happening. So all you need to do is go in and multiply some of those bonds. It's not something that's irreversible. Within Olaplex 4C, not only will you be detoxifying the follicle and the hair shaft, you will also be repairing bonds, because every single product that Olaplex has that same patent molecule that helps you to rebuild those bonds within the hair shaft. If you want some additional like heavy duty stuff, I really recommend Olaplex 0 and Olaplex number 3. Surprise for you, you can get Olaplex 4C, right? That's what you need to detox the follicle, detox the hair shaft, and then after that you will want to get a conditioner. You can either get their regular conditioner, you know, which is the 5, or you can get super official and get Olaplex 8, because that's like their deep restorative mask. It depends on what you need, what you want. It's up to you. And then when you get the shampoo and conditioner, what you can do, you go ahead, add this kit to the cart. It has to be specifically this one. Don't be trying to get the big size. Then put in this code right here, but do not forget the underscores and no caps. You put this code in, and then you get that 0 and that number 3 for free on me. Okay, but you have to click the link below and put in this code, right? So that for me is the perfect detox regimen for you, right? If you don't want to get Olaplex, that's fine too, boo. I have a couple of other recommendations in my Amazon store, and if you don't want to use those, girl, use what you want to do, but just know you need to detox the follicle and the hair shaft. Number 2, I already said that you need to do the bond treatment, so that's why I really recommend doing Olaplex number 0 or Olaplex number 0 and number 3. What I just told y'all, do that. That's number 2, prepare your bonds. Or, you know, you could go ahead and look at my Amazon store and check in my reparative mask, check in the reparative mask spot, and then, you know, whichever one you want to do, whichever one make your pocket sing the loudest. I don't know. 3, you need a routine. At this point, I think we know that the whole just washing and leaving out the house and all of that doesn't work. Even if you want to do wash and goes, that's fine, but just know a wash and go is not going to be something that you're using because you spend less time. You're going to spend more time with the wash and go. You know why? Because with the wash and go, I need you to wash and go get a diffuser and sit under a diffuser, and don't walk out of the house until all of your curls are dry. Once you do that and your hydrogen bond is set, sis, wear your curls however you want to wear them, but don't be washing and just going out. And the reason that I need you to set a routine is because the reason that you have hydro fatigue or moisture overload, whatever you want to call it, is because your hair has no routine and no pattern. You open and close the bond at will, girl. Your bonds don't never know when they about to get popped. They don't never know when something coming because you're just wetting the hair all the time. You need to have a set schedule so your body knows, okay, our bonds are going to be broken and set this day, and it's going to be set like this. They will be set like this until they get broken again on this day. You need to have a schedule and a routine for your hair. All right, it's not up for debate. Don't wash your hair and then once your hair is wet, then you decide what you want to do. Girl, get a plan first. And lastly, within this plan and routine, make sure that the styles that you are getting are low manipulative styles. You do not want to do something where you're washing your hair and wetting your hair every day. I know y'all love y'all wash and goes, that's fine, but that is going to be the most manipulation you're going to do to your hair, because whenever you do your wash and go, you wash it in the morning, you put all those products in, you diffuse it until your hair is dry, and then before you go to bed, you need to twist it up. And then you're going to do that again the very next day. So you're constantly breaking bonds in your hair every single day, and you're breaking them without setting them, because most women who do wash and goes don't dry their hair. So it's up to you, but this is what hydro fatigue is, and this is how to fix it. If you need a more detailed breakdown, like a step-by-step thing on what to do every day, Monday through Sunday, then make sure you join my 7-day challenge. In my 7-day challenge, the challenge is not to grow hair. All hair grows. I'm not challenging anybody to do that. Everybody's hair grows, and fast if you do it right. The challenge in my 7-day challenge is one that is very hard for a lot of people to meet, and it's probably gonna be hard for you too. I'm just saying. The main reason that the 7-day hair growth challenge is hard for a lot of people is because it's so hard for us to detach ourselves from the things that we've been doing for years. The 7-day challenge is so easy that it's like a mind F. Like it really messes up the mind. You're like, oh my God, this is all I have to do. This can't be right. So the challenge is, I challenge you to leave everything that you've ever learned about hair in the past. Like, just forget it, throw it away, put it in the trash can, throw it away, put the top on it, throw it in the river, fish down the toilet, something, I don't know. Learn a completely different, simplistic way to do your hair, regardless if you relax, natural, white, black, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Peruvian, Samoan, it doesn't matter. All right, this is gonna work for everyone, male and female, him, us, we, she, her, us, them, over there, even the furries. Even the furries. I'm not forgetting about the furries either. I see you, girl. Boy, I don't know if furries got a gender.
Trust that exactly where you are is where